Yes, everyone, welcome back to the channel. 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United's first pre-season game of 2023-24 season. Beating Leeds 2-0 over in that there Norway. So what did we learn? We learned all sorts of stuff, and there was some really big standout performances. Personally, I didn't expect Kobe Mainoo being the main one, but there was others, and we're going to get into them right about now. Bang in some questions, and we will get talking about them. Can I just answer this question first, though? Ajinkia says, any news on the takeover? Look, mate, can I just put this out there, right? You're not going to have to ask, is there any news on the takeover? Because the second there's any news on the takeover, every single app on your phone is going to do a push notification to tell you. Everyone's going to have it all over the thumbnail. We're not going to have, like, Hannibal and Hansen on the thumbnail. We're going to have some news about the takeover. You don't need to ask, is there any news about the takeover? Because you're not going to be able to move. People will phone you to tell you the news about the takeover. Y'all don't need to ask. Okay? Right, let's crack on then. So, number 1, trust in the youth. So while it seems like no surprise that Erik Ten Hag does trust youth players, this is someone that has historically gone and done that. Not many probably would have anticipated as much trust as he's shown last night against Leeds. Now, yes, it's a Leeds that are in turmoil. Yes, it's Leeds that have had a hell of a lot of players jump ship. But for our first pre-season game, there was a hell of a lot of youngsters involved. And we know we saw the likes of Zidane and Charlie Savage and that feature quite heavily on the last tour. But still, it was nice to see just how much there was. Huge lack of first-team players in the squad. The ones that were involved in the... can I just say, by the way, ridiculous internationals at the end of the season. What purpose do they serve? What momentum are you trying to build? What box are you ticking with having international fixtures at the end of the season like that, which then goes on and has another disruption? By the way, there was a World Cup in the middle of the season if you didn't balls it about enough. Now you're going to have this game at the end of the season, which is going to then start disrupting next season, which at the end of next season, you've already got a Euros. Nice one. Can we just, like, contain it to a little box and leave it there, can we? So, notable absentees from United, obviously. Rashford, Anthony, Bruno, Shaw, Casemiro, many, many more. But Hannibal, Howson, Fernandes, Mainoo, Ahmad, all started. And a nice surprise that allowed us to see what these players look like and how they might fit in a Manchester United shirt. And the younger lads, I thought, really, really gave account of themselves. Massively so for Hugill, Emeran, who were able to get on the score sheet with both having cool finishes. Ahmad looked determined to prove a point, looked really lively. Didn't really manage to get any sort of impact in terms of a goal or an assist, but he was looking to cut inside, looking to dribble, looking to link, looking to create, looked really bright. We'll talk about Kobe Mainoo individually a little bit later. But the side that we put out felt like it dealt with the pressure sensationally. It looked first team level. For me, I don't know if you guys agree, let me know in the comments. I thought the tempo changed as we made more and more substitutions. I know we scored twice in the second half, but it felt like to me that we were deadlier in the first half, despite literally not being dead. Does that make sense? Like, it felt like we were more at it in the first half than the second half. Don't know what the script was with that. But yeah, there's probably some loan opportunities going to come from some of those performances. Some of them are undoubtedly not ready for the first team, but I think there were some surprises. Number 2, solid defensive effort. Yes, clean sheet. Yes, we saw Varane and Martinez back partnering each other once again, which was a great sight for United fans. Particularly in the first half, like I said, thought the tempo was there. It was higher, and it was a real off-the-ball presence where United didn't really look ruffled at all. Yes, we had that slide tackle challenge at the last minute that Hannibal saved our bacon with, which was great from him, but we didn't really feel under pressure at all. Martinez was very steady on his return, was very easy with him. Probably going to need a couple of games, but he didn't really look ruffled in the slightest. Varane looked sharp, wearing a captain's armband, which is obviously an excellent tribute there to Gordon McQueen, with Leeds as well, having Gordon play for both clubs. And hopefully we'll see them linking up with, with Shaw, and maybe we'll see Delors, Wan-Bissaka start forming a bit of a fortress at the back, obviously ahead of our opening game against Wolves. Number 3, fluidity, flexibility, but still need a striker. So Ten Hag surprised loads last night with his lineup and, to be honest, his tactical setup as well. Sancho occupied a false 9 position, which is something that we thought he probably could do, but never really thought we would really need to see. But he dropped real deep, and it gave Leeds a lot to think about because we just overloaded in that central sort of area, and the centre-halves didn't really know who they were playing up against. But he was quite good in the build-up, and he did look sharp at times, but he didn't really rip up trees against an opposition that you would expect him to really go and bully. The lack of a cold-blooded striker, an out-and-out number 9, was obvious early on, and it does make you wonder how different this United side could be if we had a genuine number 9 leading the line for us. And despite that, players rotated, they roamed around, they swapped roles, they ran off each other, they covered each other, and the shape was interesting and really fluid, and the passing was fluid. Especially in the first half, we saw some excellent patterns of play, completely blindsiding that Leeds side. And it was really, really good to see. Number 4, Mainoo masterclass. So Kobe Mainoo's stock risen in a big way over the last year. The fact that he got the minutes that he got in the first team last year was a little bit of a surprise. I don't think he was the one that everyone expected to get. It's been known that Mainoo is a prospect for a while, but it was still a bit of a surprise to see him get minutes last season ahead of some of the others in the squad. Now, the performance that we saw yesterday against Leeds, well, it had the things that you knew Kobe Mainoo is good at. He's technically sound. Like, you're not really getting academy players that are coming through now that haven't got a level of technical proficiency. But it was better than the baseline that we knew that he had. There was a level of maturity. There was a level of physicality. There was a level of like, who's that? And where's he been? Like, there was times when he was doing very, very simple things, but actually playing football simply is one of the most hard things to do. Like, he was keeping it on 1 and 2 touch. He had brilliant awareness. He was moving just a yard or two into the right position just to make it hard for an opposition player to get to him. And then when he received the ball, he's letting it go quickly so they're not getting a chance to press him. He's not getting the opportunity to lose the ball in possession. And even when he was given a bit of a dodgy ball or he was giving it a little bit close to the opposition, he kept the ball on the opposite side. He kept the defender away from it. He held them off and he played the simple ball and then moved into another position. Playing that level of simplicity is extremely difficult to do. And it's one of the reasons why Casemiro looks so good for United. Because what did he do, right? He kept it really simple and was excellent at it. And that was all Roy Keane did. Roy Keane would have like 96% pass completion because he'd never really try those risky passes. He'd keep the ball, move it to somewhere else, keep the ball, give it somebody else. Like, doing that is an absolute asset to a team. And Mainoo was doing that. So I would like to see a lot more of Kobe Mainoo involved in the first team. I think he will be on pre-season, especially as we're waiting for others to get back to fitness. And you've only really got Casemiro that occupies that role. But what an understudy. What an understudy to him. He was mature. He covered space. He looked desperate to win the ball back whenever we lost it. I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch last night. And he's done himself no harm whatsoever there to say, I'll back up Casemiro. If you want to give him a night off, I'll back him up. Let me do it. So it'd be interesting to see if he goes out on loan or if they keep him around the first team and allow him to get minutes. Even 10 minutes. If you get 2-0 up in a game, take Casemiro off, go put Mainoo on and then coach him through it. He could do it. I believe in that. Now, would you want to start him at Anfield away? No, probably not. But allow the kid to develop by having him. Sensational stuff. And number 5, Mason Mount's debut. That shows you how good Kobe Mainoo was. We had a new shiny thing yesterday, and he was a good shiny thing. But he was overshadowed by a kid playing in the 6 and keeping it really simple. So there was debates rampant up until kickoff yesterday about how Ten Hag will utilise Mason Mount. And I thought some of those were answered. Now, I thought Mount performed excellently. He was in the number 8 role, which we expected him or Bruno to maybe adapt. And actually, it might be him and Bruno both adapt to being like sort of advanced playmaker, number 8 box-to-box players. But he played as a bit of a box-to-box midfielder yesterday. He started with an extremely young midfield 3, Hannibal and Mainoo. But we saw a really good, mature, busy, industrious performance from him. First half, obviously he was drifting, finding acres of space. He was turning on the ball. He was playing passes into dangerous areas. That was what we thought we were going to get from Mason Mount. And when he was asked about his role, he said, I really liked it, being able to drop, get on the ball, start to play from a little bit deeper, but also having the freedom to get forward and get in the box. I think that's a sign of things to come from him, and I think it suits him like it was made for him. His free kick accuracy was pretty good, and I think he will find success with the first 11, getting assists from set plays. There were flashes of some crosses that weren't quite taken care of because no striker. But I think there was another nice aspect of Mount's game, and one of the reasons why I think him and Bruno can both feature as more box-to-box number 8. Bruno shown us last year, the Everton game being a standout in those, but I think Mount has also shown that he can press extremely effectively. We knew that a little bit about him anyway. But the defensive coverage that he also offered us, a little bit of a surprise that. I think we didn't know for sure that he'd be able to do that in a little bit of a deeper role. But it'd be really nice to see him adjust into life alongside Bruno and Casemiro rather than Mainu and Hannibal. But I really thought we got a bit of a sneak peek yesterday about what we should expect. Overall, I thought a really decent game. Will do wonders for the preparation and certainly wonders for the confidence for what is going to be a very demanding season, one with big expectations. And I hope we'll see some first-team players join up and get some minutes ahead of going on the tour in the game against Lyon next week. 8 games in total, 7 left to go. It's now to start putting in some big work. I would expect a lot of running today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday. A lot of running. This is where the cardio foundation will get laid, and then they'll be blending that in with some tactics types of stuff as well. So yeah, you guys let me know in the comments. Jeffrey King says, is Henderson good enough as well as professional enough to be our keeper for the next 12 months? So Ten Hag was asked about that yesterday. Let me just pull the quote up because I've got it on a screen here behind. And he said, he was asked if Dean Henderson could be an option if a move for Onana doesn't materialise. And he says, yeah, of course, I followed him throughout the entirety of the season. When asked about Onana, Ten Hag said, yeah, goalkeeper is a key position, but I am happy with the players we have now. Now, do you think that's the truth? Or do you think that was him probably playing the game to a certain degree, maybe trying to play it cool? He can't come out and go, oh my God, I am desperate for a keeper. Because what happens then? Inter go, hey, we saw your interview. There's another 5 million on the price. Now you got to play it cool. You got to be like, yeah, I'll just play Dean Henderson. If I'd like Onana, but don't get Onana, I'll play Dean Henderson, right? You can't. There's a game being played here. There is a poker game. If you was interviewing people during a poker game and was like, what cards have you got in your hand? Do you think they're going to tell you the truth? Not going to tell you the truth. What's the point in that? You can't do that. So some breaking news here as well while we've been on. It does look like that United have offered players in exchange for Rasmus Højlund, but Atalanta are still insisting on cash, money. So maybe we'll do something a little bit about that later on. Ajinka says, how do you decide if someone looks ready in pre-season? I thought Zidane did enough last time, but apparently not. Well, this is the difficult thing, right? Because I see it myself. We put players out in matches, but in training, their attitude might not be quite right, or they might train bad, or they might always be late, or I'm not suggesting that that's the case with Zidane. I don't think that's the case with Zidane, but there's a multitude of reasons why someone might not make it outside of the fact of what you see in the 90. Maybe some players were set specific targets for strength and conditioning, nutrition, cardio stuff, and they never made it. Like, that might be a reason why you go, okay, I don't know. Like, I haven't spoken to Zidane. Well, I have spoken to Zidane, but all it was just to say, you know, sorry it didn't work out and good luck for Holland. Hopefully he'll come over and catch a game over there. I haven't spoken to him about anything else. So I don't know the reasons why. I don't know if it was him that pushed for the move, if the club pushed for the move. I have no idea. So I'm just speculating and sort of showing there's a million different reasons why players might not work despite what we see on the pitch. And here's the other thing. Again, not suggesting this could have happened, but sometimes we might see a player do something and we might go, oh, that was really good. But the manager might have a plan in his head and he might have gone, when you get into this position, here's what I want from you. And when you get into this area of the field, this is what I want from you. And if the player isn't delivering that sort of stuff and they've been told that, they might have been told that repeatedly. They might have been told this in training games. They might have been told this in behind closed door matches, and then they're still doing the wrong thing. So it's difficult to gauge. We see 90 minutes of probably a 40, 50 hour work week. We get to see 90 minutes of it, and we can draw our own conclusions. I saw this when I was playing at Salford. I used to see people in the crowd talking about what someone was doing on the pitch, moaning about what someone was doing on the pitch. But because I'd been in the team talk, I knew what that player was doing was exactly what the manager had asked him to do. And that was one of the things that's always struck me, that when you watch him from the sidelines, obviously you can have your opinion on how you think things are supposed to happen and how you think things are supposed to pan out. But quite often, the players have got an instruction for something else. You know, they might be told to, sometimes like one of the most frustrating things I see is when a goalkeeper holds onto the ball too long after a save. But sometimes there'll be instructions where they're told to hold onto the ball and look like they're going to pass it, but actually not pass it quickly. You know, and you don't know what the instruction was. Now, if the instruction was play quick and they play slow, then yeah, of course the manager's going to have a word with them. And if they continue to keep doing that, they'll get moved on. But I think sometimes you don't know. What we think looks good might not look good to the manager, might not align with what his plan is. You know, as a wild example, if you've got a winger and the winger constantly cuts into traffic across the edge of the box, and you want that winger to be getting to the byline and looking for cutbacks towards the penalty spot on the D, and you might have worked on that, you might have worked on those patterns of play in training, and then every time he gets the ball, he comes in and into traffic along the front of the box. And then you go, right, okay, well, my forwards aren't eating because he's not getting to the right area of the pitch to deliver the crosses for them, and he's not scoring because he's running into traffic and he's making a poor decision there. Now, even if he's coming inside and making shots, look at Ahmad yesterday, right? So Ahmad was coming in and making shots and looking bright, but what if he'd have been told something else? And we all think, oh, he had a really good game yesterday, actually. But Ten Hag's sitting there thinking, I didn't ask him to do that. Those are possibilities. Those are the things that you might see from one area. You go, that was really good, but the manager's sitting there going, prick, what's he doing? He knows not to do that. So that's where sometimes it's hard work to see. What we think looks good might not be what the manager was asking for. Chef says, so tired of international football. Just watch the US Rezzies lose to an island nation in the semis. That's not right. That has no right winning a cup competition. All right, okay. Lee says, I've been on about Kovar for free season. At 23, it's really decision time. If no number 2, then FA or EFL Cups must equal minutes. I believe, is he not going back on loan? I thought he was going back on loan. Have I seen the Dele Alli stuff? I've only seen people talking about the Dele Alli stuff. I haven't actually watched it myself. So I'm not going to comment until I have. Mehdi says, anything about Taremi rumours? I hope there's no real link. I haven't seen anything at the moment with it just yet. IQ Insane says, I liked Emeran crosses. All French wingers are promising. France has got an absolute talent factory at the moment, hasn't it? France's B and C team would probably get to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, I would imagine. Andrew says, thoughts on how Sancho did yesterday? Looked out of his depth for me, says Andrew. I wouldn't have said he looked out of his depth, but he didn't impress. Ajinka says, if we get Onana, Højlund, Amrabat, what are the realistic season expectations? Probably second and win something. Impress me in the Champions League, come second, get closer, got to close the gap. And then see how it goes, I think. Lee says, he's replying to somebody else. Lord says, second and another trophy. I'd be happy, and a good Champions League. Yeah. Right, listen, while you're here, I got a request. Hit subscribe. And you get more videos. And we can have more chats like this. You know what I mean? Less than a week to go, and we'll be heading out on that there tour to America for United's pre-season. Excited. Not prepared yet. You're right. But cheers for tuning in, as always. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button, get your questions and comments in and all that sort of stuff. And I'll catch you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.